Oh man, I think we lost him.
God dang it. I thought we were gonna get him this time.
Oh man. He's nowhere to be seen. I can't find him anywhere.
Oh well, it's getting late. Hey, do you want to have some tacos?
Yeah, I love tacos. Can't you believe that?
Oh, thank God those guys are dumb. Well, time to get back. Phew. Finally got away from those guys. So, I guess it's now time to review Assassin's Creed 2. Now, the last game really didn't do much for me. In fact, by the end of it, I really didn't want to play anymore. So is the Renaissance going to be what this series needs in order to be fun? Can painters and philosophers bring a lot to the Assassin's Creed table? Well, let's find out. We start off with a narration from Desmond giving us a mini recap of the story of the first one. Suddenly, Lucy comes in and tells us we need to hurry. What the heck happened while she was gone? It looks like she had 5 cups of coffee, ripped off her sleeves, and punched herself in the face. I mean, compare this one to the last one, and Jesus. Anyways, after you enter the machine, you see a woman giving birth to your ancestor, Ezio. Wait, what?
Spingi! Di nuovo! Sì, sì, brava! It is a boy.
How the heck can Ezio remember this? Can everyone remember their own birth? Because if they can, then I must have some pretty severe amnesia.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Wait, what? After that, you're taken out of the machine. She grabs something from the machine, and they make their way through the ninja security to the elevator. Desmond, Lucy, and one of the guards make it to the garage and fight their way through their forces, in which case the guard stays behind to allow them to escape. If this plot summary sounds really weird, it's just because I played this thing 4 times in a row, and a glitch kept on happening to me. But I guess you guys can guess what really happened here, so I'll just continue. Anyways, you reach a place that's never really given a name, and Lucy again tells you how the assassins are losing the war. Desmond says he cannot fight, but she disagrees. She says that he can learn the skills through the bleeding effect, in which case he watches his ancestors and learns from them. Wait. That means if I watch something to an excess, I'll become the master of it. Didn't work. Also, what about Altair? Did he learn anything from him, or was he just warm-up? She then meets up with 2 others, named Sean and Rebecca, who are fellow assassins. She hands her some data she got from the Animus, and then Desmond goes into the machine. We meet up with Ezio, now older, about to fight a group called the Vera de Pasi. He challenges him, and they fight. During the fight, he meets up with Federico, his brother, and afterwards head to a doctor to heal Ezio's wounds. Oh, hey Andrew, what's up?
Hey Matt, can I do the Assassin's Creed 2 review with you?
Of course not. Why would I let you in there?
Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that.
Alright, fine. Be my review. But only until things get weird, okay?
Alright.
He then races Federico to a rooftop and cue title screen. Afterwards, Ezio wants to see Cristina and hurries over there. He climbs into a window and Get out of here now.
Ooh, what's that?
Don't look! Don't look! Get out of here! Get out of here! After a night of friction, and after being chased out of the house, you return to Fader, who praises your work. He then tells Ezio to bring some papers to Lorenzo, but unfortunately he isn't there. You return to find Fader speaking to a man named Alberto. Fader tells Ezio to help out the rest of the family. After doing that and meeting Leonardo da Vinci, he returns, and Father asks him to deliver letters to 3 different sources. After delivering the letters, Ezio returns home to find that some of the family has been arrested, and Mother has been put into shock. After finding Father, he tells Ezio he cannot explain, and instructs him to go back to his house and find the hidden trunk. He also tells him to grab a letter and deliver it to Alberto. He then returns home and finds assassin's robes and puts them on. He then brings the papers to Alberto, and he says that he will sort it all out. The next day, Ezio's family is put on trial, and Alberto sentences them to death. They die, and then Alberto sends guards after Ezio. Cut to the same exact year, with Ezio meeting one of the females from earlier. She gives him the address of which the family is hiding. Ezio goes there and tells Pauline, the owner, about what has happened. Then she teaches you how to sneak around and steal. Afterwards, she gives you Father's blade and tells Ezio to revisit Leonardo. After visiting Leonardo, he deciphers a page and rebuilds a hidden blade for Ezio to wear. Ezio returns to the secret place and tells Pauline that he is going to kill Abierto. He finds him and stabs him crazily, and announces that
The Auditori are not dead! I'm still here! Me! Ezio! Ezio Auditore!
he returns to Pauline and says that he's taking his family to a nearby villa to take refuge, but only after reducing his notoriety. I'll explain that later. He does that, and then returns home to see the family. Now, I want to say that this scene is pretty awesome. You see how the family takes the news of the death differently, with Ezio being angry, the sister being sad, and the mother being in shock. You also see how Ezio understands the seriousness of the situation, and that it still affects him too. The best part is that it's all done with just expression and very few words. It's powerful, effective, and does a great job to show the kind of unity a family can have in the midst of chaos. Now, I would love to talk about this scene a little bit more, but for now, plot. They make their way out of the city and to the villa, but are intercepted by Viere, who wants him dead. After defending them for a bit, your uncle intervenes and helps you finish the forces off.
Ezio. Do I know you from somewhere?
It's a me, Mario!
He escorts Ezio inside, and Ezio explains the situation. Mario then tells you to go get supplies and meet him at his house. Ezio does that and returns to him. He teaches him how to fight, as well as tells him of his assassin heritage, and how he must now hold the torch. Ezio disagrees, and Mario storms off. Ezio tries to apologize, but learns that he has already left to go kill Viere. Ezio joins them and kills Viere.
Pezzo di merda! Vorrei solo che avessi sofferto di più! Hai avuto la fine che meritavi! Spero che
Enough, Ezio!
Afterwards, he celebrates and talks to Mario, who gives him a letter. From the letter, he learns of a powerful Spaniard and Templar named Rodrigo Borgia. Ezio also swears to take the lives of all the names on Father's list. He then goes to a room full of codex pages. Mario tells him about how he and Father have been trying to decipher an ancient prophecy made by another assassin who once held a piece of Eden. His name was Altair. Ezio decides to help him out, and Mario takes him downstairs to the assassin's sanctuary. He then tells him of how he must go to tombs to find the keys to open the lock that hides Altair's armor. And Rebecca tells you that you need that armor to achieve full synchronization. He heads back to Leonardo, creates a second blade, and he tells you where to find a thief named La Volte. Ezio heads there, but someone steals his wallet. He gives chase and eventually meets La Volte, who leads him to a hidden catacombs where Fresca de Pazzi and all other Templars are meeting. He makes his way through the catacombs and eventually finds the meeting of the Templars. They discuss their plans to strike Lorenzi while church is going on. The next day, he goes to Mass, and they strike. They manage to kill Lorenzi's brother, but Ezio manages to defend Lorenzi and keep him safe. It turns out that they planned on killing all of the supporters, and Ezio must hunt down Fresca de Pazzi, and does that. Skip to the next day, and Ezio meets up with Lorenzi, who gives him a list of names for those who took part in his assassination. He also gives you a codex page, which he then brings to Leonardo to get the poison blade. Then Ezio returns to Mario and tells him about the list and goes and kills them all, with each one of them telling you about a meeting that it will be held at night. He waits until nightfall and begins to tell one of them. He takes Ezio to a secret meeting where Japoca is saying how he messed up and he gets stabbed. Then Mistro, the man he was talking to, acknowledges your presence and captures you. He escapes and kills Japoca. Cut to 1480, and Ezio goes to Lorenza to tell him that Japoca is dead, and that he must now go to Venezia. Lorenza gives us a cape, which grants us immunity to the notoriety level. Ezio tries to speak with Leonardo, but someone informs him that he has been commissioned somewhere else, and as a result, has moved. He meets up with Leonardo in the mountains, and helps him with his wagon. Leonardo then tells us of a machine he's been working on that will make a man able to fly. Ezio offers to drive him, but the wagon gets attacked. After defending the bandits by means of drunk driving, Ezio meets up with Leonardo and are about to leave when he is informed that he needs a pass. Ezio then saves a woman named Catalina, and she persuades the guy to let him to Venezia. Suddenly, we cut back to Desmond, as they do not want to overexpose him. She tells him about the symptoms he could experience from the prolonged exposure, such as hallucinations and reliving ancestors about the Animus, just like Subject 16, a previous experiment who was held in the Animus for days at a time. Lucy then has Desmond practice his parkour skills, reactivating their defense system, all the while having hallucinations of Templars and Crusade guards. Once he activates them, he heads for bed when he suddenly starts hallucinating. He passes out and re-wakes as Altair, the assassin from the last game. He chases down a mysterious person and reaches a tall building. Desmond identifies her as Maria, although I have no dang clue who she is, and they start the non-silent night. Afterwards, he gets up, looking really underwhelmed, and jumps off a building. However, let him explain.
Stuck here with Maria? Oh shit. That must mean this is one weird dream.
Oh, that's... After that disgusting imagery, Desmond wakes up and gets back into the machine. We return to Ezio 1 year later, as he helps Leonardo around the city and to his workshop. Leonardo offers him a chance to come in, but Ezio says he must first speak with Emilio. He heads to the place, but is raided by another group. Then, one of the people you bumped into earlier, named Rosa, climbs the wall and is shot down. She asks you for help to reach the water. Once you reach the water, Ezio is asked to deal with some archers blocking their escape. Oh no! Hey, Ezio can actually swim. Sweet. After that, he helps carry Rosa to a table, and gets the arrow out of her. Ezio then goes to Antonio's office, where he asks him to help out his men so they can strike again. The real important thing here is that you get the high jump and get a disguise. After that, Ezio infiltrates the plaza and kills Emilio, with him telling you of a meeting he was attending the next day. After that, he then asks Antonio about a man named Carlo, who he learns sits on a council of 10. Next day, he spies on them talking, and learns of plans to poison Don Monceledico, and have one of them take his place. Ezio then heads to Antonio to make a plan to fix this mess. Ezio goes back to Antonio, and after doing some recon in the building, he sees that the only way through is through the skies.
Yes. Birds.
Where are you going now?
To see my friend Leonardo.
They head back to Leonardo and ask to use the flying machine he has worked on.
I can't believe it! It worked! It really worked! You flew, Ezio! You flew!
After crashing horribly, they say it can fly, but only for a short length.
Eureka!
They then decide to place torches all over the city to extend the flight. After flying around, Ezio manages to get in. However, he is too late, and Don ends up drinking the poison, so Ezio kills the replacement. Unfortunately,
You killed me? You killed me!
because of this, Ezio becomes the most wanted man in all of Venezia. He escapes and returns to Leonardo. Ezio then tells him that he must go out and kill the new Doge, Marco Bombargo, but he cannot. Luckily, Leonardo informs him that it is the Carnave en Venezia, or a time of year where no one has a face. He also translates one of the codex, which gives him a design that allows the user to fire small balls from a shooter. You don't mean... So Ezio was rocking a pistol? That's so badass! Anyways, he gets a mask from Leonardo, and is told to go find Antonio at Sister Teodore. He goes there and sees Antonio doing 2 birds with 2 stones, and meets the sister, who runs a whorehouse. However, the meeting is cut short when a murderer kills someone. Ezio chases him down and kills him. He returns, and they discuss how they will strike Marco. It is explained that he will only be out tonight because he is throwing a huge party. However, a golden mask is needed to enter. Forging one is out of the question, so they must win one. They go to the center of town where they learn of a fun competition to see who is the best, and after competing in all the challenges, it turns out the competition was rigged. Ezio then steals the mask and goes to the party. He shoots Marco and escapes back to Teodore, who thanks him with an F or a G. After some time, Ezio is asked to go meet with Antonio. Antonio introduces him to Bombargo, who will be the new Doge. They discuss how Silvio has fled, and that he now has an army at his command. Ezio decides that he should also raise an army, and the best way to do that would be with... yeah, I'm just gonna call him Bart. Anyways, while on the rooftop, he comes across a wounded man who tells him that Bart and his men have been captured. After freeing them, they head to Bart's place. There we meet Bianca, his sword, and he agrees to help out Ezio if he frees the captured men. After Ezio frees them, he heads back to Bart and they devise a strategy to distract the guards protecting Silvio. Ezio sets it up and signals them to cause a ruckus. He manages to track them down, but before he could kill him, they retreat to a boat. Ezio gives chase and manages to kill both Marco and Silvio. They tell him that it was just a distraction and that they were meant to sail to Cypher. Cut to 1488, and we see Ezio on his birthday. Rosa approaches him, and he tells him that it's been 10 years since his family was murdered. Rosa reassures him that what he has done has helped out a lot of people, and gives him a shipping manifest of when the boats left. Leonardo then approaches him and asks to speak with Ezio. Leonardo asks about what the Codex is, and Ezio tells him. They then realize that the Templars are going to try to open it using a prophet, and use whatever power is inside. Ezio then tells Leonardo that he will be at the docks the next day. The next day, Ezio goes there and tails a courier to a secret meeting spot. After stealing one of the outfits, he sneaks his way to Rodrigo. He asks about the prophet, but Rodrigo tells him that he is the prophet. After fighting him, Mario, Volpe, Antonio, and Bart all show up to help Ezio out. After some more fighting, Rodrigo kicks him down and runs away. Pauline and Theodora show up as well. They tell him that they are all assassins as well, and they initiate him in. They then take Desmond out of the Animus, but he asks to go back in. Unfortunately, there is a bug in the system, and they cannot access the final memory. However, there is a memory that they can access, but then we learn that in 1492, Rodrigo was elected Pope. They manage to get him back in, but we learn that they can't do the final memory without all the codex pieces.
Normally I would be against a game doing something like this, but they're made easier to find and are fun to get, so I'll let it pass.
After deciphering the codex pages and positioning them in a very specific way, they learn that the last piece is in Roma. Ezio goes there, and after fighting his way through, finds Rodrigo and shoots him. He admits that he's still not over his family, and Rodrigo manages to knock him off. Rodrigo uses his staff to make people submit to him, but Ezio resists. Ezio then uses the apple he stole from Rodrigo to create many clones and fight Rodrigo. Rodrigo falls again, but uses the staff to knock him down and teleports to seal the apple. Rodrigo then stabs Ezio and heads towards the chamber, with Ezio giving chase. He finds him trying to open a door and challenges him to a no-weapons duel to the death. After one pathetic final fight, he spares Rodrigo and enters the vault. Inside the vault, he finds this ghost-like thing with many names, which tells him that they were some sort of misunderstood superhumans that walked the earth many years ago. She tells Ezio to quit talking and starts talking about how the humans betrayed them and war broke out until some event burnt the world. They then rebuilt humans again in their image and soon they were forgotten. She then instructs whoever to find some temples that will be able to stop this event from occurring again. She then says how she is leaving and that is all up to Desmond. Ezio asks who that is, but does not get a reply.
Isn't that a bummer? It's sort of like, now I entrust you with the fate of humanity. You are the greatest among men. Alas, I must depart. Goodbye, William.
Oh, come on!
Go before
Desmond comes back to the present and learns that the Templars have found them. They run to a scientist from the first game and learn that he once saved Lucy. After that, they fight off some guards and make an escape towards a cabin. The gameplay is pretty much the same as in the last game, but feels a whole lot better. The Hidden Blade has seen such a drastic change since the last game. Not only can it kill people without being noticed, but can also block and counter certain enemy strikes. You can also perform air assassinations to kill people on the ground, and can be upgraded with 2 blades to kill multiple people at once. The sword is pretty much the exact same as in the first game, but just a little faster. It can take out bigger soldiers with armor. However, the small sword has been replaced by the dagger, but it really has no use when you can just use the hidden blades. It can attack faster, but it's easier to strike with the hidden blades. The throwing knives have also seen an upgrade in this game, as they can now be used without drawing attention to yourself, and can be used efficiently mid-combat as well, so during some of the more difficult skirmishes, you can just run away and use them on enemies to kill them. As I brought up in the story, you gain access to a pistol that can be held inside the hidden blade itself. I'm not going to waste time on saying how this doesn't seem accurate or fair, but I am going to say that it's not really useful. It has to be charged up in order to hit its target, and it always misses the important targets. You can also only carry 6 bullets total, which just makes that not that useful. There's a smoke bomb, which I found very useful because if you walk up to some guards and use it, you can take them all out with the hidden blade without being noticed. Lastly, for weapons, you have the poison blade, which injects targets with poison and causes them to attack wildly. It's not that useful when you're fighting someone, but it does break through armor and can take out guards around them, so it's meh at best. All these weapons add a lot more to the combat, which makes it more fun to fight a group of guards. It also makes stealth more of an option too, which I find makes the game more appealing. The other thing that they really improved on was the parkour. The controls are exactly the same, but the world seems more fit for climbing around. It is easier to find ways onto rooftops, get across a city, and run around. Ezio is also faster than Altair when it comes to climbing and running across rooftops, and he gets a cool ability to jump onto a ledge while on a ledge, which opens up a ton of areas. Also, the environments seem to be better suited for climbing and parkour, as well as there being very few instances of confusing pathways. You also have viewpoints and people that will help you again, but they're more useful here. Viewpoints reveal the many collectibles in this game, like codex pages, heralds, optional challenges, and pathways around the city. It also helps that a lot of the buildings aren't just simply climb up. They're more like little challenges you can do. Speaking of challenges and collectibles, you have the seals. The seals are scattered all over the city, and each one involves you using parkour or killing skills to navigate a little area. They're fun to go through, and do a good job teaching you some of the more advanced strategies. Once you get all the seals, you gain access to the armor of Altair, which is the best armor in the game. Once you get it, there's no real reason to buy anything else. Speaking of which, one of the newest additions is money. You earn money by doing missions, finding chests, pickpocketing, catching a courier, or from the villa. You use the money to buy upgrades for your character, such as better armor, pockets to hold more throwing knives and poison, buy medicine, better weapons, maps to find chests, improving the villa, and artwork. Early in the game, the money is not that bad, but by the end of the game, there really is no more use for it. This is because the villa gives you tons of money when you upgrade it every 20 minutes. So when you come back, you get tons of money. It means that while you're doing story missions to get some money, you can go back to the villa and nab 4 times that amount. Besides that, you can throw it around, which can distract some guards, cause people in the street to run to get it, and gets rid of street performers, which is this game's beggars. If you haven't already figured it out, another thing different from the last game is the character's health. It is no longer a synchronization bar, and is just your standard health. You can increase it by deciphering 4 codex pages or buying armor. To refill health, you can go to the doctor or use medicine, which in this game allows you to carry a lot of. There is a lot of other things like finding feathers, finding and deciphering glyphs, which can be easy or super difficult, races, and punch-ups, but I never really found much joy in hunting them down or doing them, so yeah. One last thing to mention is that the guards no longer chase you for walking, so you can freely run around and not have to worry about them chasing you. One of the things I really like in this game is the characters, Desmond and friends being the exception. This is because each one of them actually has personality, struggles, and flaws. They're complex, acts accordingly, and are really enjoyable to be around. I especially love Ezio, because you see him acting silly throughout the entire game.
He's very talented.
Immagino.
Self-expression is vital to understanding and enjoying life. You should find an outlet.
I have plenty of outlets.
I meant besides vaginas.
Mother.
However, Desmond and his memory pals don't have enough screen time for me to really be invested. Desmond acts a little better than he did in the last game, but he still acts nonchalant about things. Even when one of the deadly side effects happens to him, he still seems unsurprised. Choosing the Renaissance is a really good call, both aesthetically and for gameplay. Again, it has the justification for swords and knives, but also is very pretty to look around. There is less variety of brown and more variety of colors. I also find enjoyment in running around and climbing buildings to see all the cool looking environments and visuals. I think this is a fantastic game. Its well-presented visuals and better design of buildings makes the parkour and killing a lot better than the previous game, as well as fun in general. The variety of weapons add tactics to the killing, and fluid control makes it less repetitive. Mentioning the characters again, I really love Ezio, as he seems to come off as his own character. He manages to be both funny and cool while being focused and determined, without switching between the two when he has to. However, it does have some problems. The game gives you tons of money, but lacks anything to really spend it on. All the things you buy besides weapons and pouches just increase the amount of money you get from the villa. By the time you have the ultimate armor set, you still have 7 digits worth of money still in your pockets. Another thing is that there's way too many extra things without much benefit. Assassination contracts might have been a good idea, but the only benefit you get from that is money, which you never really have trouble getting. Running around racing people, punching them out, and collecting statues and feathers really doesn't sound too interesting, and I wish it was given a little bit more purpose. Lastly, this game can be extremely glitchy at times, to where you have soldiers walking into walls, sounds of killing go over cutscenes, and etc. Other than that though, it's a solid game, and I would highly recommend it. Now I know there's 2 spin-off games, Assassin Brothers Hood and Assassin Ventilation, but I only wanted to look at the number ones for this little peek. Besides, I played a little bit of them, and they pretty much control just the same, so yeah. Well, I guess that concludes my review of Assassin's Creed 2. On its own, it's a pretty good game, and compared to its last one, it's gold. Now, I still don't have any idea what this code could be. I'm not sure yet, but I have a little bit of a clue. But nothing solid yet. So, I guess the next logical step from here is to review Assassin's Creed. Where's Assassin's Creed 3? Where's the game?
What game?
Assassin's Creed 3.
Dad?
Oh. I had the game.
Yeah.
Well, see ya.